Good morning. Today, in continuing with Black History Month, I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Charles Drew, a pioneer in the field of medicine.
Charles Drew was a pioneer in developing and perfecting blood banking in the United States. His work with plasma was really important in saving lives during World War II, and the plasma that we use today is not much different than what he developed. Charles Drew was an African-American physician who trained in surgery. He was at Howard University in Washington. He moved to Columbia University and what was then called Presbyterian Hospital and got involved with Dr. John Scudder on blood preservation. The original types of transfusions were live transfusions. Sometimes the donor and the recipient were actually physically attached to each other. Obviously, that's not very practical if you want to scale that up to give many transfusions to many patients. And so this issue of storing blood was very important. Dr. Drew's major contribution in that setting was to be able to collect and store and deliver plasma in a high-quality way. Blood, as it circulates in the body, has two major parts, cells and fluid. The liquid portion, as it's circulating, is called plasma. It's 99% water. It contains proteins and sugars and lipids and coagulation factors. I'm sorry to say that most of the truly major advances in transfusion therapy are results of wars. When World War II started for outside the United States in 1939, there was a request from Britain to New York City, to the Red Cross here, of could we assist in providing plasma to Britain as they were being bombed by the Germans. The British noticed that a number of the units that we were sending them of plasma were cloudy, and it wasn't clear why. Charles Drew got involved and he used his scientific method to evaluate the quality of the way the plasma was being collected and prepared, and added quality assurance methods. It was widely acknowledged that he was the leader in the world at that time for his work with plasma. The armed forces in the United States were completely segregated at that time. And originally, the decisions were made to collect plasma from blacks and whites and label them separately. And he spoke out against it as one of the reasons he left New York to go back to Howard and stopped participating with the Red Cross. After he left Columbia and Presbyterian Hospital, he focused the rest of his life on trying to improve the field of medicine for African-American physicians. Unfortunately, he died young. He had vision, and he persevered, and he tried not to let obstacles stay in his way. To me, that's what makes him a hero.
The largest obstacles Charles Drew faced in his lifetime were not medical in nature, but social. Even though he was the leading force in developing modern blood transfusions, at the time he developed them, segregationist policies prevented him from donating his own blood because he was African American. Although those policies soon changed, and Charles Drew founded and led the first blood bank of the American Red Cross, he resigned in protest when they insisted that blood from African Americans and white Americans be kept separate. Today, Charles Drew is respected for both his medical and moral leadership, and is known as the father of the blood bank. As a sign of that respect, his portrait that you see on the left hangs in the National Portrait Gallery in the Smithsonian Museum of Washington, D.C. So to appreciate the impact that Charles Drew had in changing modern medicine, please discuss the following questions in your classes. First, do you know anybody who has had surgery or needed a blood transfusion? Second, how would their life be different if that blood wasn't available? As you discuss these stories in your classes, let's appreciate the impact that Charles Drew has had on all of us. All right, have a great day.